So today at Papa's Custom Cars, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Went to retrieve, someone stole the flag off of and the pole from the front of our house. We have the flag pole, and then we have a flag on the front of the house, and someone stole it. So I went back to review the camera footage and checked to see who swiped it, and my camera unit for my cameras decided it doesn't want to work anymore. It's probably 7 or 8 years old, if not more. So I was at one of the online auctions for Amazon, and I bid on a new security system, camera system, and won it for $65, which is a nice deal. It is a wireless unit, which is cool. So that's what we're going to be doing today on Papa's Custom Cars, is putting in a new camera system, and I'll bring you along to show you how it works. So this new camera system is an Amazon system. It'll handle up to 8 Wi-Fi cameras. The Wi-Fi cameras do make it a little bit easier. You still have to run power cables to the cameras, so it's not like you're not doing the same as the old school ones, which they plug in. They have 2 hookups, the power and the video, both feeds. The nice thing about the wireless is you can put the main unit anywhere you want and then just plug the cameras in. I am using the existing camera power cables. They're exactly the same style of cable, so that makes it really easy on the install. I don't have to run any more cables. I've only got 4 cameras now out of the 8 that I had on the old system, so I've got room for expansion. 2 of these cameras will actually move and detect motion, which I thought was pretty neat. And you can move them from your cell phone. So if you get a detection or an alert, you can actually go onto your cell phone and look to see what that alert is, and you can actually talk to them through the camera. So that's kind of a neat thing. So first things first is we're going to get a place to put the base. The base, I'm just going to put it somewhere temporarily. It is going into the house because it will be hooked into the network. That way I can feed any TV in the house type of thing, and I can get to the camera system from anywhere. So that's what we're going to do first, is get this set up. All it takes to set it up is a power supply, and then of course your monitor, which I've got a couple different monitors that I'm going to probably use the smaller one on this one, but we'll definitely get started by getting this thing going. Okay, so our kit comes complete with the main unit. This unit does have a 1 terabyte drive. I thought that because it was cheap because it didn't have a drive in it, and it does have a drive in it. I just happened to get lucky at the auction. This is normally about a $290 system. The regular 4-camera one, as you see, comes with the main unit, and then you get your mix of cameras depending upon which one you order. This particular one has 2 cameras that you can move. It has 2 stationary that you point them at wherever you're going to be, and that's where they go. But the 2 smart cameras are kind of an add or a better deal. And then of course all your hardware that you need to install everything, your mouse for your unit, all your power cables, antennas for remote mounting, all your power supplies, and pretty much everything you'd need to hook this thing up, along with your manual. Now, because I bought this at auction, I had to figure out which system it was, because there are different systems, and found out that it is this particular model here with 2 permanent cameras and 2 movable cameras, or smart cameras, as you'd say. So these 2 smart cameras, one's going to be watching the front area of the house, which includes the front door, and then the other one will be faced towards the driveway, along with the 2 permanents. The 2 permanents will be watching the driveway and then the side drive. That way, if somebody decides they want to try to sneak through the gate, the camera will see them. And then later on, I'll add probably four more of the stationary cameras. I do like the stationary ones. The ones that you can move around, they're all fun and great and everything, but when it really comes down to it, if you've got stationary cameras placed in the right place, you can pretty much see your entire neighborhood, per se. I had a system in Albuquerque. We had a woman who was down the street that was carjacked at knife point. The perpetrator went through, there was a canal right next to my house, just like there is one now. And my cameras watched him walk through the canal, walk down the street, and almost got a full view of him carjacking her. But what he didn't realize is as he's walking past my house, my cameras saw him. So the PD came over. My daughter's really good at the camera system. She was able to download the images and give them to the police department. That's one of the really good things about this camera is a lot of the neighborhoods now you're getting people who are coming in and breaking into your cars and stealing things. I mean, that's the main thing that they do. So a camera system will definitely help prevent that. Not only that, but if Amazon says, well, we delivered that package, and you can say, well, I got cameras that say you didn't, or you took a picture of somebody else's doorstep. These things are good as a backup, but just for added protection, this is a really good system. Now, each of the cameras will have 2 hookups. Actually, these particular ones have 3. This one is for your power to the camera, and then you've got a audio and then a network cable. So like my server uses a powered switch. So if I use this particular network cable and hook them through network cable, all I have to do is plug a network cable into this, run it into my powered switch. It powers anything that's on it, meaning cameras or anything of that nature that require power. So that would negate the use of the power wire. So there are different ways that you can hook them up. Since I've already got a camera system in place, we're going to be using this only and the Wi-Fi portion of the camera. Each camera comes with its own little mount. It comes with screws. It comes with all that fun stuff. These are definitely upside down because the wire goes up, not down. And then the same with the other cameras. The Wi-Fi definitely makes it easier because that's one wire you don't have to run. All you have to run is power to it. And like I say, my power is already there. This particular one, it's the same thing. You've got, in this case, you've got 2 antenna instead of the 1. And you've got your network. And as I say, if you've got PoE switch, which is like mine, it has will send power to it. I wouldn't have to run power. But then again, you've got your power and then, of course, your audio out. I like this system because a lot of the people don't use this style of audio out. Actually, that looks like a really fancy one. But like I said, we're not using that at all. We're just using the power only. But this one, you can actually move it, meaning that if you see something or see anybody, you can actually tilt up, down, move side to side. That's why I say this one will be on the corners over here. And that way, anybody that's in the yard or near the yard, I can see them and record them as they're coming through. But like I say, this system has 2 of those cameras, and then you've got all of your hookups. This one's kind of interesting. It has a separate hookup for an antenna. So like if you've got, if you need to put if you've got a steel wall between it and your camera, you're not going to get a good signal. So you can always run this one from the camera, I believe. I'll know more when I read it. Out to wherever, or out or through the same hole, and then you can bring your antenna. Bring your antenna into a building just by unscrewing the antenna from it and screwing this cable into it. I won't be using it. I don't have any steel walls or anything of that nature, so I'm good there. So I'll be just using the regular stuff. They do come with instructions. Folks, if you pay attention to the instructions and lay everything out before you do this, it's really easy to set up a camera system. Once you've done your first camera system, the rest of them are easy. This one takes it even to the next level because it has the wireless cable, so that's one less cable you have to run. They do have these things where they're solar powered and or take a battery. I've got a battery in my doorbell, and we turned on the motion sensor on the doorbell just to see how well it worked, and it worked great. Anytime somebody was at the door, boom, you'd get an alert. The problem is it burned the battery in a matter of a month. So I'd have to change the battery in that doorbell every single month, which leads me to believe that because these have your night vision, this night vision runs pretty much all night. If you go up to a house with cameras, you can see the little red dots. It looks like a bunch of owls looking at you. That's these style of cameras. That stuff takes power. So running solar or running a battery, solar maybe. I have never tested one in solar. And hey, if you want to sponsor me and send me one of them solar cameras, I'll be glad to hook into the system and give a review on it. But the powered ones, you never have to worry about no power, with the exception of during a blackout. But I'm on solar and battery backup, so I don't even have to worry about that. So once again, that's the best way to do it. Read through your instructions, get a real good understanding for how this works, and then lay out all your wiring first before you start blowing holes in the wall or anything of that nature. You want to make sure when you're going through a wall, you're not going through a stud. You're going through a nice, easy place. And make sure you seal that bad boy up. Because wasps, at least in this area, will find that little tiny hole and they'll try to go through it. So use something to seal that hole up that the wasps can't get through. But other than that, they're relatively easy to set up. They're almost foolproof. This one's nice because it'll also integrate into my home network. So I can actually see things as they happen. Can people cut the camera? Oh yeah, they can cut the camera, but when they do, they're standing in front of it and they're looking at it. You know, what are they going to do? Put a bag over their head and come up and unhook your cameras? So put them high enough where people can't get to them. Mine are at 12 foot. I believe on this house they're up about, I believe about 10 to 12 feet. So unless you're really tall, you're not going to get to the camera. And like I say, by the time they see it, you can actually, these have an alarm built into them. So you can actually, from your phone, set the alarm and it'll start making noise at them. So that's kind of a nice deterrent. But do a little bit of research before you get them. Like I say, this one, I bid on it. I bid $65. I did not expect to get it, but I did. So good for me. I needed one because my old system's out. I am going to go back into that old system and see what's going on. It's got a hard drive in it. I'm thinking maybe the hard drive may be an issue. Just from years and years of writing and overwriting and writing and overwriting, the hard drive may have failed. But I'll find out more. But in the interim, hey, for $65, this is a far better system and a far more modern system. Not to mention that the camera's visibility is way better. This particular one, let's see if I can find it here real quick. It does not say it. Does not say it. But yeah. Let's see. Well, I'll let you know as I go further into it. But see, this manual thinks this one comes with four of these and not 2 of these and 2 of those. Anyhow, but that's the whole system in a nutshell. You've got your main power. Let me bring some of these out. This is camera power, and you can tell because it actually shows you the picture of it. It's thinner, comes out to the same output. And what's neat about these is, like I said, I've already got them, but there's 1, 2, 3. That's the main. 4. So each one of the cameras has its own power supply, which is something you don't usually get. This is the video cable from, it's HDMI from this to the monitor. The monitor I have is not HDMI, so I do have the adapter that goes from HDMI to the proper plug. The easy way to know the difference is the big one is for the main system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up over on my workbench. I'm going to remove my my brake and then hook it up on my workbench, and I'll kind of walk you through setting your cameras up and getting them ready. So I'll see you just in about 5 seconds for you and 20 minutes for me. Okay, so I got my monitor up, power to the monitor. I've plugged the HDMI cable into the back of the camera system, hooked up the mouse, and I got to plug in the power. Turn on the monitor first. That way I can see what's going on. Got a beep. Let's see what happens here. He's firing up. Mouse just blinked on. Yep, we've got a mouse. See what we have on the screen here in a minute. And we have, looks like we have power. So the only other thing I need to hook up, I can unhook the ultrasonic cleaner. And I'm going to plug in. They say you need to get the cameras set up before you put them up. So we're going to definitely do that. First things first, let's go ahead and tell it that we're not in Hong Kong. We're in Mountain Time. There she is. And it's 8/20/2023 at 2:41:08. Is that right? Let's find out. It's actually 12:50 p.m., so that's definitely not right. So we want to go to, can we change the clock? So it thinks it's tomorrow. The question is, how do you change the date and time? Mountain Time. We want to go into the system setup. Time setup, there we go. The date format, I'm going to set it up like that. I'm going to tell it is Mountain Time. There it is. Time format, we're going to go 12-hour format. We prefer that. Yeah, we're going to set the time ourselves for the date. Today's the 19th. It is 12. Whoops. $53. And we'll apply that. And general setup, English. Actually, okay, apply that. She's going to restart herself more than likely. And there she goes. Yes, we're going to save that. Okay, hard drive setup. We've got one hard drive. It is formatted and it's a 1 gig. It will overwrite, so we're good there. General setup, English, 4x9, etc. Then you got your record setup, how you set up your, we're going to go by motion. Our network. Wireless setup. We'll deal with this stuff all later. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras here. We're going to go ahead and hook the power up to one of the cameras because they say to do that. Make sure it sees them all. Woof, that is definitely a bright light. Okay, the light just went off. I suppose I should probably read the directions, right? Oh, cancel. There it is. One camera. It's got pretty good view too. So it seems to be finding them okay, which is good. We're going to try another camera here in a minute. Now this particular one, oh, she's just waking up now in a full spin. And there's number 2. So that's pretty good about finding itself. They say that before you get anything going, and yeah, it shows you got a little power indicator to show you it's got power. So camera 1 and camera 2 and camera 4 are working. So let me grab the other 2. Let's make sure everything's working right. Okay. All right, so 1 and 2 are good. Let's hook up the next one. There it is. This one, it'll be last. This one I need to put the antenna on because it's not on yet. And she's moving now. You can see it, she's moving, there she goes. The delay time is kind of interesting. So that one is good to go. That's camera number 3, and then this one is probably camera 1. Starts with them lights on, boy, I'll tell you what. Guess they're not infrared. You'll find out in a minute. That should take us to camera number 1. Pretty easy setup, but a lot easier than the wiring, I'll tell you that much. The lights went out. We should have it show up here in number 1 here in a second. Yeah, I'm not going to share the network setup with you. It is all hooked to my network, and boom, there we go. There's the last one. These are all LED lights right here, so when it detects motion, it turns on lights. That's kind of interesting. And these are infrared. But yep, that's all 4 of them, and that's all there is to it, really. Got your Wi-Fi and all 4 cameras. So once I get all the cameras mounted and everything, I'll bring you back and show you how everything's working. But that's kind of it on the HiSeeU. Interesting play on words. Camera system. But this will definitely take the place of the one we have now. I would imagine that somewhere in the settings you can tell it how many cameras you want, all that kind of fun stuff. So record setup, camera channel setup, system. You got channels up to 8. So right now it's set for 4, but you can go up to 8. The resolution 2880 by 1620, 2 megabits. That's a good setup. That's kind of where we're at right now. Once I get everything done, I'll run through the setup wizard. I'll get everything set up on my network, and that way I can access this camera system from anywhere. The unit's probably going to end up inside the house, in the office, or down in the server room. Not sure yet where I can put it. It just depends on how well it adapts to or how well the Wi-Fi works through all the different walls and such, and the distance of it. So we'll find all that out when we put it all together. But I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, so I've ordered some extension power cords because these, of course, are not going to be long enough to reach where all the cameras are. They sell these in 15-foot, 30-foot, and 50-foot lengths. I've ordered 30-footers because I've got some kind of long runs to go. It's in the middle. I don't want to cut it short with 15. So 30 will give me enough extra wire that I don't have to worry about it. So for right now, I've got all my cameras, as you can see in the video. All my cameras are matched and ready to go. They do have a pretty good picture, which is really nice to see. My old ones were kind of, they weren't as sharp as this. So these are going to be good cameras for the system, which will make it really nice. The only other thing you've got to do is if you bring in a new camera, you have to actually pair the camera to the wireless. I would imagine that it can find it on its own, but definitely something to do. Also on the cameras, you've got your main power in, and if you're not using the Cat 5, you want to definitely close it off. So they've got these little connectors that connect on. This also works if you're using them for network cable, because it's got the little hole in there for you to feed the cable through and keep this thing watertight. I'm not going to be using the Cat 5 part. I'm just using the wireless, so I'm just going to put these caps on, and that'll keep the majority of the water out. These will be probably located on the opposite side of the wall, because there's enough here to go through the wall. But that's kind of to give you an overview of the camera system that we're installing. Like I say, it's one of those things where I think everybody should have at least a couple cameras. The doorbell cameras are all great and wonderful, but a full camera system allows you to go back and view everything. So, and you've got multiple angles. That's the nice thing about it. Oh, one of the other things is when it does have power, the little green thing lights up on the network jack. So if you were to hook a powered Cat 5 to it, it would power the camera. You wouldn't have to run this. And then this one's just a reset for the camera. So that's pretty much it for today, or for today's video. Go ahead and make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you want to know anything about the system or its layout or anything of that nature, shoot me a note, and I'll get that information to you either in a PM, or I'll just create a short video on it, like I did with the flagpole and the screws that I actually used. And that's about it for me today. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you on the next video.